Alright, what's going on, guys? Welcome to the fourth floor. This is going to be our first attempt at doing a podcast for the PSO2ube. We're going to be talking about topics such as Phantasy Star Online 2, Phantasy Star Universe, and even the private servers combined. Today, we're going to be talking about is, do we still want Phantasy Star Online 2 to be localized for the Western regions? But before that, Billy,
Yes, sir.
you're here, I'm here,
I'm here.
and Phantasy Star Online 2 has been announced back in July 2012. What do you think happened since then? Like, where's Sega been?
Now, Sega, they've been kind of missing in action lately. Actually, for a while now, and it could be one of many things. Maybe they are working on a console port for Phantasy Star Online 2. Maybe they just want to go in a totally different direction from the Japanese version of Phantasy Star Online 2. Maybe they're just revamping the whole game. Like, there's so many possibilities.
This comes to the point where like a lot of people come out and they pretend they know how like a whole development goes down, and they will say, oh, they canceled it, or the money's not good enough,
That's
and
easy
all
to
that.
say.
It's very easy to say. And we don't sit here. We don't pretend like we know what's going on either. We kind of just speculate, what the possibilities are.
Right.
And one of the strongest possibilities I always talk about is that they've been working on a console port. And it's one of those things that's like, well, this has been almost in development for 4 years, and even like huge blockbuster games like Uncharted or Halo, they don't even take this long to develop. Uncharted maybe, but they don't even take this long to develop. And
Yeah,
for a
true.
game that's being ported over and just being translated, obviously there's a little bit more to it than that. I understand the fact like Sega is not as huge as a company as say 343 or Naughty Dog or any of that, but they so it's safe to say they probably work at a slower pace when developing new games. But Phantasy Star Online isn't a new game. It's a game that's been kind of in Japan,
It's already
Asia.
It's solidified. Phantasy Star solidified the franchise in Sega.
Yeah, it absolutely did. Um, and granted, they have other huge titles. They have Sonic, and Sonic is obviously a larger title than Phantasy Star. So they have to prioritize that. Yakuza, which they did a partnership with Sony for, and they're going to be bringing that to PlayStation.
A
Which
lot
is
of people
cool.
have been pretty excited about that.
Yeah, that's pretty
I've
awesome.
never played Yakuza myself, but a lot of people seem to be really hyped about it.
We played a Yakuza game before. It's not exactly a Yakuza game, but what was that game? Wreckage? Or
I know what
Reckless?
you're talking about.
It was Reckless.
Yeah.
That was,
For, like,
I
the
think it was
PlayStation-
some kind of
PlayStation 2?
Yakuza game. Yeah, it was some kind of
Yeah,
Yakuza
something
game,
like
but
that.
it wasn't very, it wasn't, it's kind of
Yeah.
like Halo Wars to Halo. Anyway,
Right, yeah.
but yeah, people were pretty excited to see that they were porting over that, and all the Yakuza fans were praising Sega for a long time, and it shows that if one Sega does something right, well, they can gain the respect of their fans.
Oh, definitely.
But the difference between Yakuza and Phantasy Star Online is Yakuza hasn't been in development for about 4 years. They've been working. I don't know how long it was in development, but it definitely wasn't as long as that was.
Yeah.
And because they made the announcement, God knows how long ago. And the thing about Phantasy Star Online is they held a demo at PAX 2012 or 2013, where it was playable and fully translated. And if anyone played Phantasy Star Online 2, it's safe to say that there's not much more than what they've shown at the demo at the PAX.
Yeah. Definitely.
So what they're doing, I'm not entirely sure. But we'll come back to Phantasy Star Online 2 because there is another thing I want to talk about, and that is Phantasy Star Universe. A gentleman named Mike is back messaged me, and he wanted to get our opinions on some stuff. He said that Phantasy Star Universe got shut down for 3 reasons. That there was a bunch of people that had too many items, like too many the 4 level 180s and 4 max rooms, and the $10 a month was too low. I don't know how true that is. People have capped out characters in games all the time. It would have helped to increase the amount of characters you could have, and but truthfully, 4 characters is more than enough for me. I'm more of a one character kind of guy. I stuck on the same character for ages.
Yeah, I'm the same way.
Yeah. He also said that there were for sure 6,000 or 9,000 accounts that were not being used and stopped paying to save data. It was just like there's too many accounts that weren't used and they were taking up server space when they could have used a smaller server and saved money. That is relatively. Every game has their kind of population drop off where a group of people will stop playing the game because they either get bored of it, they move on, yada yada. So Sega could have absolutely done some kind of wipe there where they would wipe away any accounts that haven't logged on in about like 3 or 4 years, and that would have saved them a bit on server space.
I do have to say, like, I'll have to side with that because, like, even when they knocked down the servers to just 20 servers, we could have did without 20 servers.
Yeah,
We
that's
probably
actually
would
number
have
three.
been. It probably would have been overkill, just like even with 10 servers.
Yeah, that's number three. 20 versus 20. This is the one I agree with the most. 20 universes was too much, and 1 to 3 universes full at most. We definitely could have had 5 universes and lived off that, and it would have saved them
Hands
a
down.
huge amount, like 3/4 the amount of money that they've been spending on. I don't know how much a server costs to keep running, but it did definitely put a damper into their funds because they had to close it down.
Yeah.
Had they taken protocols to work with their fans, which at the time there weren't really a lot of them. And we talked about this earlier that if Phantasy Star Universe never shut down, the servers would probably be pretty damn empty right now.
Oh yeah.
Even though I periodically go back to playing extra mode, I'd probably periodically go back to playing online mode as well. But Sega's not going to keep a server running up for us, so we can periodically go back to it.
Right.
But with that said, one of the main reasons that this guy never didn't mention, but one of the reasons why Sega did had to close down Fantasy Universe, they stopped supporting it. It came about like what? There was 2 Fantasy Star portable games that they could have ripped content from. They didn't update Fantasy Star Universe for a while. It went from when Ambition came out for the first time, we would get like an update maybe every 2 weeks, maybe every 3 weeks, and that would be very supplemental. We'll get missions, weapons, clothes, and all that. And I remember I was getting upset because I play as a cast, and all the humans were getting clothes. I wasn't getting any of my parts.
Yeah.
Anyway, the content, the supplemental updates, they slowed down to a crawl, and we're not gonna pay $10 a month. We're not even gonna pay $5. Well, I'll probably pay $5 a month. But anyway, we're not gonna pay monthly for a game that the developers aren't gonna support. And when Edward from Sega, when the time came to close down the servers, he said that they didn't get to do everything they wanted to do with this game. They had bigger plans for it and all that. So it goes to show that they had a bigger vision for Phantasy Star Universe, and they wanted to do more with it. But the higher ups, whoever they may be, forced their hand to bring down the servers. Whether it was for financial situations or whatever.
They definitely had so much like behind Phantasy Star Universe that we aren't going to be able to see. Like I remember playing before they even shut the servers down, looking at videos on YouTube of what the Japanese servers have, and it looks like a completely different game. And you know, it's pretty sad that we never got to experience these changes because they seemed like some pretty insane changes.
Yeah, one of those changes probably would have saved the game, and that was the free-to-play model with Guardians Cash, and
Oh yeah.
that would have saved a good portion of the game. Because how many people played the demo? Though
Yeah,
you go on there was always a group of people playing the demo, and
that is
if they had
true.
microtransactions in that game, which by the way, I'm in the minority. I am a kind of a supporter of microtransactions as long as they're cosmetic.
Yeah, I am too. I have to
But
agree.
and as long as the game is free to play, I'm not gonna pay a monthly fee and then pay for a helmet. But anyway, it's if they did a free to play model for Phantasy Star Universe, we would have had the group of people who were working on who were playing on the demo, they would come over to the real game. And granted, who wants demo kids on our game, but it would add to the population and it would add to the lifespan of the game itself.
Yeah.
And not only that, they'd probably make a lot more money off the microtransactions than they would have off a monthly fee. So they definitely missed that opportunity.
Very true.
So being that this is our first podcast, I do want to make this one relatively short. Maybe we can get the ideas. Maybe if you guys like this podcast, please let us know in the comments below, and we can do a little bit more with this. And
Definitely.
hopefully we can, maybe even bring some guests on here, have an interview. And if this gets big enough, this is a very, very small chance, but it would be amazing to get someone from the Sega staff to get on here and maybe have some sort of interview with them.
That'd be pretty awesome.
While I don't see that happening, it's a possibility. So hopefully, if you guys like this, we can branch this out and do it bigger. So with Phantasy Star Universe, obviously now shut down, we do have Clementine on the rise.
Clementine.
Why should we be excited about that, Bill?
Well, there's a few reasons.
Silly question, but why should we?
There's a few reasons why we should be excited about this. Now, Clementine, it's more than just a PSU private server. It's a PSU private server, like sort of modified. So basically, this guy, he's not going to make it exactly the way PSU was. It is going to be PSU at core, but it's also going to have certain things that weren't introduced in the original Phantasy Star, like things we weren't able to make use of.
Yeah. He's right. One of the ideas that were thrown around, if you guys follow the server, the private server forums, is he wanted to do different gender stats. So you could have a female who may not have a lot of health, but she could probably have a lot more damage that she can deal out. Maybe she's more accurate. And then like the male would be he'll be stronger and but he may not have the accuracy that a female has. I didn't read too much into that, but that's the gist I got. That's the idea I got from reading that. And that's something I don't think was ever in the Phantasy Star universe. I don't think they had different gender stats.
Nah, I don't think they had that.
It's not necessarily something I really want. That's one thing I kind of just hope that he keeps the same from PSU.
Yeah.
But either way, he's making great progress on that, and we're keeping a good eye on that. And
I'm glad to see that progress is being made.
Yeah, and for the 10th time, we're not the ones developing that. We just kind of
No.
brought the news. If you guys want to support that, I'll put the link to the description of the forum below. So we're starting to start wrapping this up. Bill, the question has to be asked: do we still want Phantasy Star Online 2?
Oh, that question can be answered with a simple yes. Yes, we do.
Yeah, we do. But I'm gonna be a little more specific with my answer. If Sega comes out and says, "Hey, we have Phantasy Star Online 2," and well, actually, I didn't even answer the question yet. And my answer to that question is, yeah, kinda, no. Like, it's a yes and no for me, because if Sega comes out and they say, "Here's Phantasy Star, here he is, we brought it, your PC release, here you go." Okay, I'm happy, but what have you guys been doing this whole time? Like, what's the 4 years development, and you give me the game I was expecting, the game I played in Japan already. If Sega comes out and they say like, "Here's Phantasy Star Online 2, but hey, we're porting it to consoles. It's coming to Xbox One and PS4 and Wii U." All right,
strategy.
Hey, this is what you guys have been doing. All right, like this is, I mean, it took you guys a little long to port it to the consoles, but hey, this is, great.
Yeah.
The best case scenario, what I've been hoping is that they are branching out. Phantasy Star Online 2 doesn't have to happen for us. It doesn't have to. What does have to happen is Phantasy Star, and that's all I ask. It could be Phantasy Star Portable Infinity ported to the consoles. And PC, and in English, and we just need some form of online Phantasy Star here. And what I hope, and my fingers crossed, is that they did cancel Phantasy Star Online 2. in replacement that we're getting Phantasy Star Universe 2. Because when you look at Sega and you look at what they've done, they have about 3 years of catch up that we're gonna have to play on Japan's part, assuming that it's gonna have the same update system. And if it doesn't, it's gonna be its own game anyway. So
That's
what
very
I
true.
hope is that Sega looks at itself and they're like, well, we have this engine, we have this franchise, and Phantasy Star Universe was pretty damn popular. So why don't we just make Phantasy Star Universe 2? It'll take place in the Graal. It'll look great. Fans will be happy, and we'll compromise. As I said in a previous video, you take what Phantasy Star Universe did wrong, and you do what Phantasy Star Online does right. You combine it, and you make a great game. And it's gonna be interesting to see what Sega does, because obviously they're probably not doing that. Fingers crossed that they do. But we'll have to see in the future. One thing's for sure that 2015, I believe we are absolutely going to be getting our Phantasy Star this year. Whether it's Phantasy Star Universe, Phantasy Star Online 2, Phantasy Star Universe 2, even some kind of Phantasy Star game we never even heard of, Phantasy Star Galaxy. I don't know.
Yeah.
Um, I have high hopes for the Phantasy Star franchise. This is going to be the year where big things are going to happen for us, and whether it's the private server being released, the Phantasy Star Online 2 private server being released, it's we're not going to be disappointed this year. We might be disappointed in Sega, but one thing's for sure, we're not going to be disappointed in the Phantasy Star franchise this year.
Yeah. I have a good feeling about it.
Yeah. So we're gonna wrap this up.
Alrighty.
Thank you guys for watching this video, this podcast. We appreciate it. I'm Joseph, and I'm here with.
And I'm Billy.
We're from the PSO2ube, and we'll be seeing you guys later. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Don't forget to leave your comments in the comment section below, and we'll see you guys next week if you enjoyed these. Adios.
See you guys.